Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the podcast from the birthplace of geocaching right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Now, it's Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific, and they call me Chris of the Northwest. We're going to talk about geocaches and geocachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're watching archive footage of exploding whales, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Oh, yes, the blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds.
This
Memorable
week was
indeed.
the anniversary
Yeah,
of said event.
that monumental event in Northwest history. Speaking of monumental things, tonight we're talking about monumental trackable tips and monumental tales and maybe some less than
Monuments.
monumental trackables. But we're talking about trackables nonetheless. Some pro tips, so don't look at me, on how to handle trackables, maybe share some fun stories. I bet there's some fun trackable stories out there in the chats. People throw them in the chats there. Do you have any questions about geocaching trackables or stories you want to share? Give us your feedback. Stay tuned for all the fun. But before we can have fun, we have to bring in our traveling tamarind. Some say he thinks a traveler that doesn't lose his temper is a nomad. And others say his humor is drier than a bowl of bagel chips. All we know is he's called Line Monkey.
Oh, that's funny. Bowl of bagel chips. Wow. It's an
Better than
expression you
cow
don't hear
chips.
very often.
Or
A
buffalo
big bowl
chips.
of bagel chips.
Yeah. I like the alliteration. All right. Hey, before we jump into all the fun that we're going to talk about tonight about tracky balls, a quick reminder that we appreciate the support of our patrons, all of you who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. And special thanks to our corporate Denali level sponsors. Well, that would be Land Sharks and Cachly, the geocaching app. Hey, have you seen the amazing set of 4 Shrek? Nope. Hey, have you seen?
Let's back this truck
Roll
up
that
and
one
start
back
all over. Back this shark up.
Hey, have you seen the amazing set of 4 shark trackables?
I have not.
Well, you should go over to landsharkz.ca and check that out. That is also available on geocaching.com. It is a really cool set of shark trackables that you can get one or all 4. Beautiful watercolor designs made by the Land Sharks studio. So check it out. Very cool thing that you can get there and totally on point and on theme. There you go. Thank you very much for sharing those. And you know, if you need to drop those trackables into a cache, so you need to find a cache and you're an iOS user, well, there's really only one solution you should be using, and that is Cachly, the app for iOS. Version 8 with Cachly Pro features offline maps of the entire world, Delorme and counties, and coming soon, CarPlay support. So find Cachly in the iOS App Store or go to cachly.com. And if you want to support this podcast financially because we need allocution lessons or electrocution lessons, either one will work, head on over and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
Yes, indeed. You know,
I don't think we need lessons in electrocution. We're just asking you not to electrocute us.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say we should check in with Nick and see how that CarPlay support thing is coming because we keep talking about it.
Yeah. Be good to know, wouldn't it?
Hey,
What?
I have to say something.
What?
The nomad comment in the beginning,
Mhm.
it apparently was pretty clever. I wasn't sure if it was going to go over.
Well played.
Thank you, GSM times 2, for saying that.
Indeed. Indeed. So what's it time for, Chris?
Oh, hey, that's me. It's time for the glow. Now, some may ask, why don't I get to this sooner? But that just didn't happen this week. And others may ask, what is a glow? Thank you. What is a glow? That is the geocaching log of the week. So whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better.
Indeed.
That's very true. Caching can't disclose what happens when your body when you cache too close to the Hanford and all nuclear waste.
Mhm.
Yes, I worked there for many years. I know about these things.
It explains a few things.
So, what you need to do if you're caching near Hanford, you need to get on that smartphone if it still works. You know, it may be powered at 400%. We don't know. Get on that smartphone, call into 253-693-TFTC, or you can use the voice recording tool and email us that recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. The third and final option is just simply email it to feedback@cachingnw.com. That's the baseline. We know you're all better than that. We want you to up the game and send in those recordings. So, do I glow in the dark? Not anymore. You know, it was kind of like oh boy, I forgot it now. Before I said anything, it would have been good. Do you remember the glow in the dark watches of the 20s
Yes.
and 30s? That
Mhm.
paint they used
Radium.
had radium. Thank you. It's like radium. It decays over time.
Ticking round and round like the deadly hands of a radium clock.
There you go. I was thinking more of the Radium Girls, but yeah, same idea.
Yeah. I read that book recently.
Oh, there's a book?
There's a book. It's very sad.
It is
Yeah,
very
it
sad.
is. Oh, the first time I heard it, it was shocking and
Yeah.
disgusting, and like, how can they do that?
My daughter did a play on it in high school and college. They did a play of the Radium Girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. All right. So someone sent in a globe, Jim.
Yeah, the half-life of that glow is dying quickly here. So let's see. This glow, it's GC Alpha Yankee 35, just like my IQ. It says, I both love and hate this one. People say that about me too. I was wandering all around the wood due to the updated coordinates. Once I found the container, well, that's when the fun began. I picked the one I thought would be the log, and of course, that wasn't the case. I got it down to the last one and finally got it out and signed the log. Love/hate this cache. Can I give it an awful point? Since I can't do that, I'll give it a favorite point. Signed the log as CNW. I don't know who that might be. It was either to save valuable space in the log or because I'm lazy. I know the answer to that one. Let's say it was the space thing. Thank you to
That's the
Seaback
answer.
Tribe for the cache find. The container and log were dry and in good shape. And it says you can find out more about our geocaching adventures on cachingnw.com. Yeah, found your card in a cache. Probably not still on, but what did that log say?
You probably stopped this podcast years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I was shocked to find it still going.
So were we.
Oh. This isn't the glow I had picked out this week.
No, it's not.
It isn't the log you had mentioned to me earlier, but yet it's the log that was in the notes to read.
Yes, I just noticed that.
I wonder how that happened. So thanks to Seaback Tribe, who Seaback Tribe and Chris Brew approached me at the Halloween event and said, it'd be really fun. They said, we're just going to tell you and sneak this in.
Mhm.
So I did.
Okay.
There you go. CRS 98 goes, was this a bounce special? Yes, it was. It's one that I immediately got to the event after wandering. Okay, so this was at the Terror on the Peninsula event that whole weekend, right?
Right.
It wasn't bad. Drizzle now and then, but when I got to this one, the coordinates have been updated a couple of times, and it's sometimes difficult to know in which order, right?
Mhm.
So is this the newest one or is this the newest one? So I'm wandering around. It's pouring down rain. The only time it rained this hard all day when I'm outside. And then I come across, I see it from the backside. Oh, I got to be over there. So I bushwhack over there, and sure enough, easy trail from the road, right? I didn't need to be where I was. So, okay. And I was soaked. So I'm not a happy camper. I open up the ammo can, and inside is this large cylinder with a PVC pipe running down the middle. The cylinder is transparent, so you can see what's in it. And there are 3 bison tubes. And the cylinder, right down the middle, that you have to spin this container and drop that bison tube into that chunk of PVC tube and slide it out the end. So as I'm doing it, my red hot rage of being in the rain and trying to do this is starting to steam up the inside of the container.
Hulk smash.
I was close to that. One of the bison tubes came open, and I thought, oh, that's the one with the log in it. Right. So now I'm trying to get a bison lid with a chunk of paper to come up and sit into that tube and slide out, rather than the entire bison container, which gives you a little more leverage. Guess what? I finally, when I got that one out, it said, no, try again.
Log's in the last one you look at.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah, the rain gods hate you.
Yeah, apparently they do. So yeah, I stood there in the soaking rain, spinning this container, trying to get the bison tubes to fall onto the PVC. And then, so immediately at the event, I went right up to Seebeck Tribe and said, I love you and I hate you. Okay, great container, a lot of fun, terrible timing for me to do it.
There you
It's
go.
just, it was the skill thing. But nonetheless, that wasn't what we were supposed to talk about tonight.
Yet. Well, Seebeck Tribe, thanks us for reading out the surprise glow. Well played, Jim. And
You know me, I'll read whatever you put in front of me.
right?
I just
And
went,
silly
huh.
me, I was
That's not-
actually working on the show notes and didn't notice that it changed.
Yeah, I got to that one. That's not what it was 15
Well,
minutes
I
ago,
didn't
but
change
okay.
it until the show had actually started, and I assumed you would be busy at the top of the show notes.
Oh, you're devious.
I'm
Indeed.
something. All right.
Seebeck Tribe, you're welcome. That was fun and frustrating.
All right. And maybe someone can share the GC.
Heather
code.
wants to know what the
Yeah.
cash
There we
code.
go.
I know there were a couple of Yankees involved.
Yep, GC Alpha Yankee 35.
There you go.
I looked at that and go, I don't.
Heather's looking for stuff to put on the ignore list. So
Yes, I would do it.
GKY 35.
There's going to be several more of these caches out in the
will-
Pacific Northwest, thanks to Bounce and his Gadget Cache Academy.
And while most of them probably in the Washington area, not exclusively, I
That's
think at
true.
least one is going to make its way up to BC. So there you go.
So get used to this. And
Alright.
bison tubes are aluminum, so magnets won't help you.
I hadn't even thought about that option. I don't know if that would work as well as you think that would work. But anyways.
Anyway. Hey, tonight,
Yeah.
if you want to join in the conversation that I've just manipulated all of this time, use the hashtag TB. That's like a tracking bug, trackable bug. TB, travel bug. That's what I was looking for.
There you go.
Not tuberculosis.
We've done this, coming up on 600 episodes. You'd think I know what TB stands for, but I don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's throwback.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Throwback Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. SB
so
Dave,
yeah.
somebody wants to share a photo of one of these devious containers. No, I crushed the one that Seebeck Tribe had. So
Here's a thought, because it's hard to share photos in the chat, but this episode always gets posted up to Facebook. If
Yes.
somebody wants to attach onto the comments onto this episode a photo of one of those types of cache containers, then Dave can go look there and just look for this episode on Facebook, and someone will hopefully put it in the comments.
perfect. Comments. You can like and subscribe. You know what?
What?
We've got a few things to talk about.
We do.
We've got a contest that's going to happen. Yeah, I've got some problems with you people, and you're going to hear about it.
Here he goes. He's still manipulating the conversation and monopolizing.
And Land Monkey took off his
I don't want to hear
pants,
about it.
and then he's done. Yeah,
That's right.
that's
You
probably
should
what our audience is doing as well. Okay, first of all, big news coming out of Caching in the Northwest. We're coming up on 600 episodes. Yeah, that's a big one. That's going to happen January 30th. We're not sure what we're going to do. Maybe we'll do a live event somewhere. Maybe we'll just do a regular podcast and nobody will notice. But in the new year, that's in after the 1st of January. What's the first Thursday in January? I think Wits End is looking it up.
Second, third.
Yeah, I think it's the second or third.
Okay.
Let's see. It is the second.
The second, January 2nd, Caching in the Northwest is moving to a new time.
What?
Time, you say? We don't have time to talk about the time. So instead of 9 p.m. Pacific, we're moving to 7 p.m. Pacific. Overwhelmingly positive feedback from our patrons. I went to the patrons first and said, hey, I'm considering this. What do you think? It upset Bryling so much he disconnected. Yeah. Did the vote work? Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, the vote worked.
Vote early, vote often.
Exactly. So I'll be mentioning this every episode and, even after. What Ghoster said, I thought the choice was 7 a.m.
Well, you can join at 7 a.m. and then
Yeah.
wait in the chat
You'll
for
just
12
be
hours.
early.
There'll be nothing wrong with that.
It's like geocachers always come to the event early, right?
Exactly.
If
So
you don't like 7 p.m. Pacific, join us at 9 p.m. Central.
There you go.
8 p.m. Mountain.
Yeah.
But yes, looking forward to that. That'll be, I think that'll be a very positive change in a lot of ways, particularly for our Central and Eastern time zone listeners and viewers. So, but even for us folks on the West Coast, it'll be nice to have it wrapped up by 8-ish. So,
Yes, exactly. So there you go. Podcast time is moving in the new year. So between now and the new year, let's run a contest. I
okay.
thought this would be fun. Now, Land Monkey, you mentioned Facebook and YouTube, right? We want you to like and subscribe. Now, I'm pushing YouTube this time, right? So like and subscribe on YouTube. If you do, starting with this episode, you're going to be able to win some prizes. Okay, so what we're looking for is the contest is going to run now, November 14th through December 26th. That's the last Thursday in December. It's 7 weeks. 7 weeks, 7 chances for you to win. Entries are only going to be considered if valid within that time frame. And each week will determine if there's been enough feedback. If not, no winner will be chosen, and we'll start again the following week. So the prizes are available. The prizes available for the contest are the new Land Sharks shark tags that we tried to talk about in the beginning, but maybe didn't do that well.
The shark tags.
The snark tags right here. So there's 4 shark tags, and if we hit our goals each week, we're going to give out 7 of these. Right? So we get a blue shark. I knew about the blue shark, and I knew, so this one is the blue shark, the sleek one. I knew about the basking shark, right? That's a big one, big wide mouth. The other 2, I wasn't so sure about, the Pacific sleeper shark. And that's because, our podcast is on too late, apparently. Yeah. So we're moving it earlier. See how I work that in. And the spiny dogfish shark.
Well, surely you knew about the spiny dogfish. That is like the most common shark around here.
And it could be dizzy. It could be the spinny dogfish. I'm not exactly sure.
It's the shiny dogfish.
Oh, that's it. They spelled it wrong. So you'll have a chance to win one of those 4 tags
I
sent
thought it was
out.
a Bitcoin Dogefish.
Ooh,
No?
we're talking about Doge, all right. Okay, so you've got those 4 tags, right, that you can win.
Yeah.
So a winner will be selected randomly from the list of subscribers who commented on the weekly podcast video with their
So
geocaching name.
it's subs and comments. So
Right.
if you've already subbed, you can still be entered in to win by making sure you put a comment on each YouTube episode.
There you go. Exactly. So if you're not subscribed, here's your chance. Go subscribe. If you have just subscribed, also leave a comment. If you're already subscribed, leave a comment with your geocaching name so we know who you are, right? Then we can contact you and say, hey, you've won. What address do you want me to ship this to? Or, you know, hey, just meet me at the next event and hand it to me. But I won't have those, so don't do that. So each week we're looking for 15 new subscribers and at least 30 new comments.
Ooh.
30
Okay.
comments on each the video. So
Now, Chris, for clarity, those in the live audience right now who are putting comments into the chat, that's not the same, right?
that's
You
not
mean
the same. No.
you have to actually go out maybe after the show or such, but go on to YouTube and put the comment there on the actual episode.
On the YouTube page, yes.
Okay.
And what that does is that just drives up our YouTube stats, right? We have to play the game that YouTube has. I'm not a fan of it, but it's going to help push our show forward and get it out to more people. So this week, you're going to find and comment episode 589, Trackable Tips and Tales. You'll be able to find that on YouTube, right? You can go to the cachingandw.com site, click on YouTube. It's going to take you right there. Click on that episode. And if you've not subscribed, click subscribe. You can click the bell if you like. We don't have a problem with that. And then leave a comment of your geocaching name so we can get a hold of you. Right? If we get 15 new subscribers each week and we get 30 comments on a video each week, somebody's going to win that trackable tag. If we don't hit those numbers, we reset the counters and start over in the next week.
Okay. So new chance to win every week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There you go. And we will announce that each week on the podcast. So you guys listening live, listening afterwards, you'll know if you've won. You go, oh, hey, I've won.
There you go.
IHAM says there's no place to comment until the live show is done. That's correct.
Okay. So that answers Caching Kent's question of it's not the live stream comments, it's the comments later. Oh, no, that's not what he's asking. He says, does this mean comment on of the live stream or the audio that is uploaded later? So not the audio that you would download as a podcast. We're talking about the YouTube.
Right. Now on YouTube, there are, I think I've corrected it. There's one podcast that is just audio.
Oh,
and there's one that's video.
okay.
I believe I've gotten rid of the audio podcast. We'll have to see when this posts.
Oh, maybe
it
that's
was one of those things that was a legacy setting long ago. I actually had to track it down through older versions of the software that I'm using to be able to turn it off.
Funny. Okay, so the contest sounds a little complicated, but it's not.
It's really not. Next week I'm going to say, hey, we had 16 new subscribers. We had 43 messages, and the winner is Bob, right? That's all there is to it.
It's amazing that you already know the numbers before.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm not going to say that I've traveled in time and I know what's going on.
All right. Awesome.
Now, since we talked about all these new trackables you can win.
Yeah.
What do we do with new trackables?
So many things.
You throw them in a shoebox and put them on a shelf.
I got a shoebox right over here full of them. They're not on a shelf. It's on a table. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think most of our listeners know what a trackable is, but Chris, do you want to give a quick rundown of just basically what a trackable is, how that part of the game works?
You know, a trackable is a very interesting thing. The let's see.
All shapes and sizes.
Hmm.
Okay. I can show this one. This is a copy tag, so there's no
Okay.
information on it. I had to look closely. Maybe it's on the side, printed really small. So the basic thing is a dog tag shaped chunk of metal that says it's a travel bug, trackable at geocaching.com. They're going to be a unique code. Most of the time they start with TB. That's not always true. You can get custom codes. They're going to be TB and a series of numbers and letters, right? You enter that at, one just popped up for Wits End. You enter that at geocaching.com. Oh, right. And they don't have to be chunks of metal. You know, you could go to BC Rock Crawler and get the one off his arm. So you could remove a chunk of
Well,
skin.
take a picture of the one on his arm.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
actually take the one off his arm.
Right. There's a sticker on the window of my car too, but don't take the window out. Just copy the number down.
Those windows are big and awkward to carry too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, basically, for those new to this, it's a game within the game. It's the ability to have some sort of piece of metal or something or plastic or whatever that has a unique number on it. You enter that number into the geocaching.com website or into your app, and that allows you to play a game with these things, to pick them up into your digital inventory, along with actually physically grabbing them, to discover them if you can't physically grab them, and
like say on BC Rock Crawler's arm,
like on BC Rock Crawler's arm, or
Within window.
Jim's window. And yeah, so it creates a little game within the game, and we're going to talk a lot more about it. But do you have any?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
GSM times 2 has a very salient comment for the moment. I just weighed my shoebox of trackables. It weighs 6.4 pounds. The kids are going to have to deal with them when I'm gone.
Have they been activated?
Oh, good question.
The kids or the travel bugs?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was funny. So yeah, we're going to talk about some of the options you can do with these trackables when you get them, right? Discover is probably the most popular, but there are other things to do.
There you go. Lots of fun. Yeah. Oh, comments about only one shoebox? And yeah.
Brightling says only 6 pounds. I have 2 plastic ammo cans full, plus some buried on a display rack.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Varying levels of problems people have with their addiction to trackables and geocoins.
Yep.
But
I mean, you know, I have a stack of path tags right here with it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more just like it.
Mhm.
That I made a really nice path tag holder on my wall, and it fell one day.
oh no.
And all the little I spent time putting nails in on a grid. I was very happy with it, and it fell, and all the little tags fell off one day.
Oh dear. Did you find them all?
I think so. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh dear.
And maybe
'Cause those little things could roll under
Yep.
desks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
cover a lot of territory, those things can.
There you
Cache Canada has a big plastic bucket full on a desk.
go. Yeah, Rory. Sorry, BC Rock Crawlers. 5 photo albums full. Yeah, and some people have amazing collections for sure,
Mhm.
and it's fun when people can get opportunities at events to share. To see some of the really interesting ones people have collected from all over the place. But
Some people hang them from the rim of a hat and jingle wherever they walk.
right, we've seen that.
Oh, they're so easy to find that way too.
Yeah, this.
I've seen a 4x8 sheet of plywood next to a full-size Jeep
Yeah.
that looks like a trackable Jeep. If you are old enough to remember such a thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were talking about some
In
memorable
life-size.
trackable experiences when I was a new cacher. The yellow Jeep trackable, travel bugs, they were a thing and they were hard to find. And
Yeah.
there's a white one. So I think the first ones were yellow, if I remember right. Then
Yes.
there were white
Yellow,
ones, and there
red,
were green
white,
ones, red.
black or green.
I had a watch on several area caches in Tacoma. If I saw a yellow Jeep get dropped into one, I would jump in my car and race over there to see if I get one because I really wanted to get one. I thought they were really. I still think they're really cool. I'm will admit I'm older and jaded that I don't get as excited about them as I used to, but I still think they're kind of a neat idea.
Yeah.
I some memorable ones. Well, the yellow Jeeps and all the different Jeeps ones. I the first one that I ever found out in the wild caching. Just look at this. It was a little tiny yellow duck called Quackers Ahoy. I thought he was so cute, and so I put a watch on that one.
He
And
is
went
tiny.
around. Yeah, he went around a few years, and then, well, as many geo trackables do, like my coin, they disappear. I launched one, and it just went. But then, okay, so you think about memorable stories. Here's the most memorable one that comes to
Okay.
mind tonight. I may change my mind tomorrow. I had only been caching a few months, and I found Trackable. And the guy gave the description. It might creep somebody out, but he says it contained some of his father's cremated remains. And he said, my dad loved to travel, and he loved to go geocaching with me, but in his later years, his health would prevent him from coming along. And he loved burgers. So he says, take my dad with you to a burger joint. So this was a trip to California I took in 2005 and took him along. And there's the price of a double meal in 2005, which, boy, I miss those things. Miss those prices.
I was going to say the prices are no longer the same, but the meal is the same.
Yeah, $4.80 if you're listening to the audio for a double burger, French fries, and medium drink. Those were the days, huh? And there's
Oh, there
that was fun.
You got a double.
Yeah, well, I was not alone.
Oh, good.
You weren't single.
Right.
You
So
got
that
one
was
for his dad, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of fun and at the time very unique. I don't know if I've seen it again, but you guys have any memorable trackable experiences?
Wet Coaster says, I'll never forget the caching in the Northwest travel bug race. Mine went missing out of the first cache. I don't know if any of them made it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. You know, one of my first, I don't know if it was the first, one of my first that I remember the most is it was a little motorcycle with a travel tag on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is cool. I got home, read the description about it because this was before smartphones in the field, right? So you get home and you go, oh, this guy really likes to ride his motorcycle on the interstates. Please put this in a cache near an interstate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Boy, I wish I'd known that. I was around many interstates today, but okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. But that was the one where I learned about missions. Oh, it has a mission.
Right.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, I can fulfill this mission. So, you know, you take it back in the day. I think we'll talk about how we do it now, but you would drop it in a cache. And then when you're done caching for the day, come back to your computer and say, okay, now which cache did I drop this in? Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of great stuff.
Mhm.
Boy, so many, things and opportunities to remember. I think one of my favorite memories, there's been a few where I've put trackables out as just sort of like a bit of a game associated with it and like some objective to move it somewhere and the mission for it and it had some fun missions associated with them. One of the more fun ones was, I don't know if you guys remember Michael. He used to be co-host with Gary Slinkard when for whatever that podcast was called in its inception.
Geocache Talk?
Well, I think
Which Michael? What was his geocaching name?
I'm trying to remember. I'm struggling. If I had planned enough before the podcast, I would have brought up the data
Nonetheless.
and had the information better prepared. But anyhow, so a fellow who lived down actually near Orlando, near Disney World there, and he and I met when I went to Disney World, and it was great. Cache and Release podcast. Thank you very much, Start Cacher. Um, and he and I met and had a great little visit, and we came up with the idea that we would exchange trackables when we met, and then we would drop them each in a cache. So I would take his, drop it in a cache up here near Vancouver. He would take mine, drop it in a cache near Orlando. And the idea was to try and see if they could make
Get
it
back.
make it back. And mine did eventually make it back home, thanks to the help of quite a number of geocachers, including some locals who made sure that it got into my hands before, or as it got into this area. So that's a lot of fun. That kind of stuff, when you can play that kind of a game with it and just watch it go on its mission. Sometimes they, as discussed, they just disappear. That happens. And I think that's one of the key takeaways that I would say is there's kind of two main things you can do with trackables. You can put them out in the world, let them circulate and go on an adventure, or you can collect them. And we'll talk a bunch more about collecting and such. If you are going to put them out in the world, you just have to be totally prepared to let it go. And you've got no control over what happens. Either human intervention or natural intervention, they may not make it, but sometimes they do. Our daughter put one out when she was a kid, and it still pops every once in a while. I see it popping up in Germany somewhere. Germany is where trackables go to never leave that country. So
yes, I launched one that went to Germany and bounced around forever and then died. So
Yeah. I did one for a class that I taught to children. And we did a, I don't know, 3 or 4 week class, kind of summer, in the summertime at our church. And, I put in the description, hey, this is for a class. Please be descriptive in what you're doing with it, where you've traveled, where you're going. And the geocachers, as we know, are really good people. And they put some very long descriptions in there, which made it so much fun for the kids to vicariously follow this travel bug as it, traveled around just here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
I had another one, it was a very small geocoin, smaller than a path tag, and could fit into, back in the day, film canisters were very popular containers, right? You could fit into a film canister. And it traveled around. It went up into Michigan. It went up into the upper peninsula of Michigan, where it gets very cold and very snowy. And about 2 months out of the year, it would move and then stay frozen for the rest of the year as nobody could find it. And then eventually it just stopped. They stopped reporting. But for a couple of years in a row, I'd get 2 or 3 logs a year on it. Hey, I found this. I'd either discovered or they moved it to another one, and then it would get snowed in again. So I thought that was funny. But
that is funny.
It's snowed in. It's not going anywhere.
It's there for the winter. It's hibernating. Yeah. So, hey, we talked about some fun stories from our own memories of playing the trackable side of the game. A few pro tips about finding a trackable. Chris, Jim, you mentioned about the Jeep thing and putting a watch on caches and watching for them for sure. So, how can you spot if there's a trackable in a geocache? If you look at the cache page, the web page, and the trackable has been properly dropped into that cache, you can definitely see that that there are trackables that have been put into that cache. So that's one way of definitely finding out. How do you know if the thing you found in a cache is a trackable? I think, Chris, you when you were explaining what trackables are and how they work, I think that's sort of the key. Is it basically has to say somewhere on whatever thing it is you pick it up, maybe a coin, maybe aluminum tag, maybe something else, 3D printed, who knows? But it has to say trackable or track at geocaching.com. And then okay, this is an official trackable, and then it'll have that alphanumeric code that you use to track it on geocaching.com. But yeah, so there you go. You open up a cache, take a quick look through. Usually, it's the look through the swag in the cache, extract the log sheet, and then look through the swag and see, are there any path tags? Are there any trackables? Maybe that's also a good thing, is to clarify path tags are similar to trackables, but different. They're not trackable on geocaching.com. They don't have a unique number on every one. It's a different kind of swag item, but people trade them. And so it's something you can trade fairly for in a cache.
Also, if you're using Cachely, the geocaching app for iOS, on the cache listing, there is an entry there for trackables, if there are trackables in the cache. So that helps you to find them as well.
Very cool.
So once you find one, then what do you do with it?
I don't know. I leave it be and move on.
Yeah. Well, you can do that, but you can help move them along and track them by entering logs online. Just like Lambucky said, track me at geocaching.com. So you go to geocaching.com, or you use one of the apps and you enter the unique tracking code on the trackable so that you can add your entry to it's not a cache page, it's a trackable page.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the new apps now even have optical character recognition. You don't even have to type it in. You just scan that code and off you go. So you can retrieve the trackable from the cache if it's one that, like we were talking earlier, like the one I took to the burger joint in California. It wanted to travel. It wanted to be picked up and moved along. I retrieved it from a cache, and then I dropped it in another cache. Or some of them, well, like my car window or BC Rock Crawler's arm or leg or wherever it was, don't take those off, You discover them. If you see them in a car in a parking lot outside of a ham radio store, discover it. Don't take it off of there. And if there's some way, and it confuses me every time we talk about it, to mark your trackable that you own so that somebody can't walk away with it in a virtual sense. But it is important to pick the right form to discover or retrieve.
Yeah. Some of these apps, Cache Canada says there's a listing of TBs on CGeo and the geocaching app as well. GeoGo, Cachely, and TB Scanner, I believe it's called, all have optical character recognition. And for some of them, or for most of them, actually, you can also say, here, go apply to these pictures and go get the codes off of there. So you go to an event, and some people love to do trackables more than caches. They go and they can take pictures of, 18,000 trackables and process them in bulk. So some people find trackables more exciting than actual caching. That's fine. That's an aspect of the game, more power to you. So there you go.
And I'm glad I'm not alone. Sometimes too, you could spend an entire show explaining discoverable versus collectible.
Yeah, we've got some notes later on the show on that, but very brief, because honestly, it's one of those things of I think it's just the way the language was used on the geocaching.com website. It just continues to be confusing.
Yeah. So when you get a brand new trackable, say you win one of our contest shark tags, right? You get a brand new trackable. How do you activate it? How do you say, oh, this one's mine and this is what I want it to do? Well, log into geocaching.com, go to the trackables page, enter the activation code that comes with the trackable. It's often in the packaging, in the little plastic sleeve. Perhaps it's got its own, little cardboard insert in the trackable somewhere. It's not going to be the code that's on the trackable. It's a different code or word. Then once you do that and it says, yes, this is your trackable, you've got it. It belongs to you now. You can assign a name, a mission, a description. You can take a photo of it if you'd like. And then that mission can be anything you want it to be, right? mission can be like what Seebeck Tribe here is talking about. In my early caching years, my family dropped off 4 travel bugs, one for each of us, at a dog park. They were to race around and see how many miles they could get. All the trackable tags were dogs.
Nice.
So there you go. There's the example of a mission, right?
Mhm.
We want to see how quickly it can get miles. Komakino says, I dropped off 2 trackables while I was in Japan with the goal to get back to me, much like you did, Land Monkey.
I did that once too, I think.
Okay. One managed to get back to me in under a year's time.
Very cool.
So there you go. There's an example of a mission.
Yep. Another example of a mission. One of our esteemed audience members sent the one of the trackables from Cash Advance, their mailbox shaped one, because it wasn't available for Canadians, but they were kind enough to get one and sent it on a mission to get up to me, and it got to me. So I carried it
There you
around
go.
on my Jeep keychain for now until we decide what to do with it next. But
Nice.
you know who you are.
Oh,
Well, and you talk about a mission, Doramore said, I was asked to bring a mannequin head named Hannah from England to geocaching headquarters. I didn't know whether to put it in my checked bag or carry on. 8 years later, it's never left England. So
so if you don't know what to do with a head, give it to Doramore and she'll get it out of the country for you. That's really what it amounts to.
you can put 8 heads
Reminds
in
me
it.
of a cache we were
Disembodied
talking
head.
about in a previous episode.
Yeah.
Too funny. All right. Well, we talked a little bit about collectible versus non-collectible, and just to keep it really, really simple, a trackable that's defined as a collectible trackable is one the owner allows for others to keep if they find it. And a non-collectible trackable is meant to move from cache to cache. So there's some definitely I think we'll just pass on it for this episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Collectible to you.
Getting into the web page, and then there's just there's a sequence you need to click a couple of things to set it either collectible or non-collectible on geocaching.com. But if you're having something as the trackable you attach to your GPSR, because it just goes with you everywhere you go because you still use a GPSR, and that's like collects your mileage of all your geocaching adventures. That's something lots of people do. That's a lot of fun. Or the one on the decal on your car, those would be collectible in your own inventory, your own collection. I don't think a lot of people make something collectible and then put it out for somebody else to just grab and own. That seems a very odd,
The
rare
cat
use
works that way.
case.
Yeah. GSM times 2 says, I explain it that it's similar to visiting an art museum with a gift shop. You can discover the items in the museum's collection, and then you can go to the gift shop, pick it up, and move it.
Okay, interesting. All right, good way of looking at it. All right, well, yeah, we've had lots of feedback from the awesome folks here. Starcacher brings up a good point here. Some of the magnetic travel bugs that people can put on their vehicles. He's not transferred his magnetic TB to his new car because none of the back surfaces are metal.
Well,
I had the
self-tapping
same problem with
screws.
the Jeep.
Self-tapping screws, you can attach it right there.
So there you go. I often think that if you're going to an event and you want a trackable to come with you on your car, if you get a magnetic one, you can stick it on that rental car, peel it off when you're done, right?
As long as you remember to remove it when you're done.
As long as you remember, right? I wonder how many travel bugs have ended up in rental car dumpsters.
Yeah.
And speaking of dumpsters, IHAM says the favorite travel bug in my collection is a miniature dumpster with 2020 printed on the outside and flames on the inside of the lid.
Oh, yes.
Very appropriate.
Yeah.
Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters in there, is it?
Yeah. This is 2020. Kitty Quest says I picked up a trackable a few days ago in Washington that started in Germany with a mission to go to Canada. 7 years later, it's now in Canada.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. And, let's talk about that maybe just for a little bit too. Some tips and tricks from the geocaching.com FAQ on trackables, care for trackables. And one of the first things they say is to avoid keeping trackables for too long.
Mhm.
Try and move them within, they suggest a 2-week period, if possible. And sometimes things happen. It drops to the bottom of your backpack or slides between the seats in the car or whatever. Things happen. But if you find it again, try and get it back out into circulation.
Mhm.
Do your best to do that. Um, if you picked up a trackable, try and be reasonably careful with it. And they're pretty durable for the most part, but um, maybe don't use it to skip across the surface of the pond or anything.
Try open a can of soup or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually might work really well, but if you're, and a lot of people, as we've discussed, like with the Jeeps and other things, people will attach them to toys and such, which is great. But if you're going to attach it to something, don't make it something fragile because it's just going to break or rip or
Yeah.
tear.
Yeah.
And do your best to keep the tracking code legible. Sometimes when people attach something else to the trackable tag, they'll write with a Sharpie on the other
Mhm.
object in large letters. Because, let's admit it, the older we get, the harder it is to read those dang tracking codes.
Me, I thought it was just me. No? Okay.
No. And there's one more piece of advice that I was so pleased to see on geocaching.com's webpage, because this is a personal pet peeve. And I saw BC Rockcrawler made a comment about it earlier in the chat. But is if a trackable isn't listed in a geocache, you pick it up, but you don't see it listed in the geocache, wait at least 24 hours, or better yet, contact the last geocacher who logged the trackable to find out if it's been dropped. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because exactly. As BC Rockcrawler says, sometimes cachers will grab a TB, because it's another thing you can do is grab it. They'll grab a TB before the person who's dropped it can get a chance to write their log and place it in the cache.
Mhm.
So do the courtesy of, if you pick one up out of a cache and you go, oh, it doesn't show that it's in this cache yet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, with smartphones, people can do that right away at the cache site's location. But you know what? Maybe they're traveling from another country and they don't want to use their data, or they don't have data to do that. So, or they're busy, right? They're with friends, they're talking. Give them some time, give them a little bit of time. And if you don't see it pop up in the cache that it's supposed to be in, then contact them and say, hey, I see you have this trackable. I have it. I found it in this cache. Can you drop it in there for me, please,
Mhm.
so I can pick it up?
Exactly. Little courtesy goes a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah. Let's see. We also talked about respecting the mission statements. We talked earlier about,
Mhm.
Chris mentioned a cache that wants to be along interstates. The one that I had that said my dad wants to go to burger joints. So it can be kind of fun. It can also be kind of, well, practical. But I remember there was a mystery cache in the Tacoma area
Mm.
that you had to find it was an audio CD, somebody's home burned audio CD that had a trackable on it. And you had to find that CD, play it, and the song titles on it were what you needed to solve the puzzle to find the physical cache. So the mission of the travel bug said, please leave me in this general area.
Right.
If you took it to New York City, that would be really difficult. And I think the cache hunter had some duplicate ones made up for that reason. But so it can be more than just courtesy. It can be
Mhm.
a practical reason to do it.
Yeah. There was another one in this area. There was a key that was a travel bug, and that key was used to unlock the cache container. So in the description, it says you need to find this travel bug
Right.
and bring it here. And of course they asked the people picking up the travel bug, don't take it too far away.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was just skimming through some of our
Comments?
trackable
There's
Sorry?
always some great ones
Our
in there.
trackable comments, the comments
Yeah.
that were we
Well,
used to track
no,
people.
but I actually just some of my own trackables
Hmm.
because I was looking for one in particular, and it's we talked about some people will dip one in every
Mhm.
cache they go to. We have one that we started fairly shortly after we started playing the game, and we dip it into every cache we log. And I was curious to see. I haven't looked in ages to see how many kilometers are on it. 382,389 kilometers on that.
Wow.
I wonder how many times around the Earth that would be.
Yeah.
At least once.
Those little
Since we
maps
have
can be
no
kind of
idea
fun
what
too.
kilometer to miles are, we can't figure that out. Very similar to that, CRS 98 says, I have a coin that apparently has traveled over 500,000 miles.
Wow.
I'm sure it hasn't left the collection of some dude's shoebox for decades. He hates the ability to dip trackables.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's just a part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one that I'm describing, I'm pretty sure that's the same code, that trackable code that's on my caching vest, which is thanks to Wits End.
Oh yeah, you had, as I recall, duct tape and a Sharpie, and I had a friend stitch you a
You
patch.
did.
That was fun. Yeah, I forgot about
Much
that.
classier than my original attempt.
I like that Breiling said if the first travel bug I found, I think, was a pair of tiny handcuffs for Smurfs. So I thought that was kind of
How does he know that?
Well, they're about this big apparently.
Run
Okay.
into some rough Smurfs he has.
Yeah. Stealth required. That was the old multicolored geocaching
Hmm.
logo before it went all green.
Monochromatic.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, guys, what do you do when you're looking for a trackable and it's not in the cache container it's supposed to be? It's missing.
It'd leave a scathing Yelp review.
Yes, and shut down that cache immediately.
That's right.
Yeah. You can mark them missing.
Mhm.
I think the owner of the cache is the one who has to do that, though. So I think you'd have to notify the owner of the cache to say that the trackables that are listed as being in there are no longer there.
There you go. I think that's right. So, just, and again, maybe it's just patience. It hasn't been placed there yet or hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
And, there can be logging errors like, oops, I put it in the wrong container. We did 17 this day. I thought I put it in number 5. I actually put it in number 6.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I made a mistake. So that's good, where you can contact the owner and say, hey, or the last person who had it, say, hey, I found this. Yeah, there you go. Only the cache owner can mark a trackable missing,
Or the trackable owner.
or the trackable owner. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's how it says. And if the entire cache is missing, all the trackables inside it will be missing as well.
Probably. Pretty good chance.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're at time. It's been tons of stuff. I think there's a lot of comments we haven't gotten to yet, so maybe we'll grab some of those for the after show as well.
Fantastic. And listeners, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
Absolutely. We want to take a few moments to thank our corporate Denali level sponsors. That would be Landsharks, LANDSHARKZ.ca, and Cachly, the geocaching app. They are Denali level sponsors, but you can check out landsharks.ca. They're the outdoor adventure store. Check them out online. They're shipping those online orders daily, including those shark trackables that you could win if you participate in our subscribes and comments contest. And Cachly, of course, is the geocaching app for iOS, and you can find them at cachly.com or download it from the iTunes store. We want to thank all of our faithful Denali level sponsors, Landsharks and Cachly, of course, but also Cool Cow Cachers and Hawaiian Maile. If you want to know more about supporting this show, please head on over and click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website.
That's right. Just like Skyhawker did.
And one of our newest patrons, Ken, Ken, send us your geocaching name. You know who you are.
Yes, and our favorite kitchen appliance, the LG 9000,
Thanks to Mountain Bike.
And Korsgott.
and actively correcting and supporting us in the chat, GSM times 2.
That's right. Genies.
And Teus.
Peach of, I believe, now Washington again.
Kid Vegas 19.
She should just name it to Peach of insert state name here.
Right.
Logwork.
M Nerve.
You, Dak.
Whidbey Island Gal.
You talks to rocks.
Subway Mark.
Dora Moore.
Boomer 365.
BC Rock Crawler.
GC Nav Pro.
Sorry, whom?
Geo Nav Pro.
Both of them.
T46.
Seabeck Tribe.
Gas Station Tuna.
CRS 98.
Flagman.
Terrible Teas.
IMAX.
MC3 Cats.
Trexer.
J Car.
Butterfly Girl.
Railroad.
Geo Birder.
Green Words.
Camp Clan.
Ackerdoc.
Kitty Quest.
Just finding our way.
Just Carlo.
Just be Pendragon. Oh, wait.
Just geocaches.
No, more than her. Lots of
Oh.
people cache.
That's right. There you go. Peach of Wenv.
It's one.
Wenv. Oh, there you go. Peach is currently in Nevada, but as long as I'm a legal Washington resident. Uh-oh, she heard us. We have to stop talking about our people. Okay.
Too fun.
So, folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. So if you like the show, please click the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website. And if you didn't like the show, let us know what you wanted to talk about. But if you like the vibe, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a review. If you were in a restaurant, you would tip. If you were in a live audience, you would clap. But since you're on a podcast, leave us a free, fast, fabulous, fantastic 5-star review. Of course, you can call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or treat yourself to a round of sausage any time of the day or night. I want to keep that one in there. And of course,
keep rolling with that one. Okay.
of course, you can email us at feedback@cashingnw.com. Send us your favorite type of sausage and join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Pacific till the end of the year, and then 7 p.m. Pacific at the start of the new year for a live show and chat. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, Jay Kennedy, and Brian Lang. It's licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2024 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for the after show.
Jim was rather quiet. There he is.
It was the echo. We were waiting for the echo to come.
I've had a little issue with my sound tonight. I have to go click on those sounds and say, oh, you want to use the device you're already set to use. So let's just go make sure you're using it. Oh, there, look, it works.
There you go.
That's silly.
Too fun.
Okay. So we had some FATAS.
Yep.
All
All right.
There's been a few, huh?
Geocaching, the art of finding the easy way out and the geocache at the same time.
Yeah.
Indeed. There's a different TV story from Kitty Quest. About 6 weeks ago, I picked up a Trackable that had been sitting in a cache for 4 years without even being discovered, though the cache had been found. So,
I probably found those caches and just left the Trackables.
well, you know what? Sometimes I'll just discover a Trackable and then leave it in the cache if I've already got a bunch in my inventory.
Yeah. She followed up on that and said within 2 minutes of logging it, I got a message from the owner in Germany who thought it had been a long time lost and was absolutely thrilled. The moral is there's always a chance of resurrection.
That's
Indeed.
right. We didn't mention TB Rescue, which is a portion of Project GC. That could be a whole show right there. But yeah, now personally, I'm going to share a little insight with you. I'm very bad at placing the travel bugs I pick up into another cache, right? Usually, I picked it up. This is cool. I'll move it along. and then I can't find a container it'll fit in, or when so I'll take it back, put it in the car, put it into a bag, do something, and then I go out caching and I forget to bring it with me. So I've just gotten in the habit of, rather than disrespecting these travel bugs, I'm just not going to pick them up. I may discover them, but I'm not going to move them along out of respect for the owner.
Yeah, that's cool. I think as long as, whatever you do is done with a degree of good intention and courtesy.
Right.
And
Now, there
hard-
are others who absolutely love to move travel bugs.
Mhm.
And that's, that may be the main reason they go caching. Great. Do it. Please do. I just know it doesn't work well for me. And then, 6 or 8 weeks later, I get an email. Hey, do you have this travel bug? Yes, I still have it. Sorry.
Mrs. Monkey and I, we really enjoy moving TBs. So our inventory is constantly got a rotation going on through it. It'll, sometimes it'll grow a little bit because we just, because of per what Dora Moore says, it's getting harder to find large enough and dry enough caches to leave TBs in. So sometimes the inventory will grow a little bit, and then we'll go on a road trip. And the one thing we do try and do, though, is if we've got a few in the inventory, is don't drop all of them on the same trail.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to get picked up by the same person.
Right. And if you've got a large number, don't put them all in the same cache.
Yes.
Either. I would say spread them out, but
oh yeah, for sure.
Who am I to say? Maybe you just want to get a lot of traffic to this cache and you put in 25 trackables. That's going to draw some attention.
Yep.
Well, another tip, GSM times 2 says, take them to events. He says, I don't leave them in caches anymore. I take them to events.
Yes.
And then you can really spread them out amongst other cachers.
Exactly. They'll pick them up and go to all corners of the globe.
Well, especially from a mega event for sure. But
Right.
even small local events, you can swap them with other cachers because you never know where somebody else is going to be traveling to next.
Hey, just in case you wanted to know, as of June 2024, Wits End, this is for you.
Okay.
A double combo meal at In-N-Out Burger in the Los Angeles County cost $11.44, which includes tax.
Yeah, that's more.
That's more than the $4.80, right?
Yeah, it was $4.80 back in 2005 when I took that picture. So.
There you go. Thanks, Dave.
You might be able to get a fry for that now.
No kidding, right? We had an actual FATAS from Komikino. Said Goblin Death said I could post my video of his gadget cache, Johnny Island's Throne Room. So that video is going live at 5 p.m. tomorrow on Komikino's channel. So this is kind of a big deal because Goblin Dust is generally, he kind of prefers people don't share his caches, but I think Johnny Island's Throne Room's been out for quite a while. It is a fantastic geocaching experience. We recently took a friend there to go enjoy it, and it's awesome. So good stuff, Komikino. Looking forward to seeing that.
And where'd it go?
Whoops, sorry.
Hashtag give Peach a wrench.
Thank you for leaving that to the end of the show. All right. Good stuff.
Let's see what else. There was one I was going to find. I can't remember. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves there.
GSM times 2 says, when going to mega events, I hand them to people, write down who I gave them to, and follow up if they didn't retrieve the travel bug in a few days.
That's good. Yeah.
In case you wanted to know, $4.80 in 2005 is worth $7.76 today.
Oh, there you go.
So it's,
So
again, 40% higher than it should be.
Yeah. Okay.
As is everything else.
Right.
Our producer's trying to give us the hook.
Yeah.
Let's see how far we can push it before he just ends the show.
He already left once, so he may just disconnect and leave, and we'll.
There we go. I found it finally.
Did you? What you got?
Gary said, I launched a Charlie Hustle trackable. That was Pete Rose, in case you didn't know. It was his nickname was Charlie Hustle. It made it to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Irony, because if you're not a baseball fan, you wouldn't know that Pete Rose was banned for life.
I'm not a baseball fan, but I actually knew that.
Yeah.
So irony of that statement.
Side comment that can go off after the show's over. I asked, and it has come up in other places, if Pete Rose was banned for life and he recently passed away, can he now be inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
I don't know.
I have heard differing opinions on that, but that's a discussion for another podcast.
Yes.
And probably a whole nother podcast in general. Right?
Yeah.
Not just another episode of this podcast.
Oh, yeah. No, not another episode of this, another podcast.
Yes.
You know, okay. I know we're not supposed to go on. One of the things we're going to do by moving the podcast earlier is we're going to be able to do more patron after show specials, right? Where we just sit with the patrons and talk. So if we want to talk about Charlie Rose, really? Pete Rose,
Pete
Hustle, Charlie Rose. You know how it goes. Pete Rose induction for the Major League Hall of Fame. Then we can. That would be a perfect location. Okay.
Yeah. I'll talk about Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Is he hustling?
No.
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
There you go.
In that case, folks, thank you for joining. And until next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.